Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I wanted to show you how to make some delicious spicy roasted beef sliders with horseradish spread and melty cheese. These little sandwiches make for a really great game day appetizer, or you can enjoy them for lunch or dinner. These hearty beef sandwiches are packed with so much incredible flavor. You're gonna love them from the first bite. Let me show you how to make this easy and delicious recipe. Let's get things started with our beef. We'll need 2 pounds of beef chuck roast cubed into large chunks. Preheat your pan over medium-high heat and add a drizzle of avocado oil. I'm going to brown my beef in batches so I don't overcrowd the pan. Drop that in. You want to make sure you brown the meat really well on all sides. Season with lots of sea salt. And once our beef is nicely browned, take it out of the pan for the moment. I'm going to drop in my second batch of beef. Brown this batch. And next, into the pan, we're going to add in 1 large sliced sweet onion. If you need to, you can add extra oil or butter at this point too. Going to cook the onion over medium heat for about 5 to 7 minutes until it's nicely softened. Next, into my softened onions, I'm going to add in 6 sliced garlic cloves. And it's also time to add in all our spices and seasonings. Let's start with 2 teaspoons of sea salt. Also going to add a generous amount of ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of chipotle chili powder, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon ground coriander, 1 teaspoon ground cumin, a teaspoon of white granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon dried garlic, and 1 teaspoon dried onion. Also going to add in a couple bay leaves. And let's mix this all together. We're gonna let those spices warm up for a few minutes. Next, pour in 2 cups of water. And it's time to return the beef back into the pan. The beef needs to be partially submerged, about 3/4 of the way, so if you need, you can add a little bit more water. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit to like a medium high and allow the water to come up to a simmer. Once the liquids come up to a simmer, we're going to cover our pan with a lid and reduce the heat down to the lowest setting possible. And then let your beef slowly cook away for 2 hours until it's super soft and tender and it falls apart really easily when you pull it with a fork or a spoon. And 2 hours later, we have super soft and tender beef and a really rich, hearty broth. I'm gonna use my tongs and remove the beef into a large bowl. I'm going to use a fork and some tongs and just pull the meat apart. Just shred it into small bite-sized pieces. And this is what it should look like once it's all shredded. For the sliders, we're going to start with our horseradish spread. We need 1/2 cup of mayo, and I love to use avocado oil mayo. Drop that into your mixing bowl. And then add anywhere from 2 to 3 tablespoons of horseradish, depending on how spicy or strong you want your spread to be. I love it to be extra strong. We're going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of dried garlic, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, just a little smidge of salt. You can adjust this to taste. A little ground black pepper, fresh chives, and some fresh parsley. Give this a mix. And that's it. This spread is super easy, but it adds so much incredible flavors to the sliders. For the sliders, we'll need some simple dinner rolls. I'm gonna use a sharp knife, split these in half. And you can use any type of dinner rolls that you would like. I'm going to add a generous amount of our spread onto each half of our sliders. And for each slider, add a generous amount of this slow cooked beef on top. I love to have lots of beef on every sandwich. Before placing the sandwiches into the oven, we're going to top them off with some cheese. I'm using some Havarti cheese, but you can use provolone, mozzarella, any kind of soft cheese that you prefer. I have my oven broiler preheating on the high setting. I'm going to slide my sandwiches into the oven and let them toast under the broiler for about 5 to 7 minutes until that cheese is nicely melted and the bread is toasted. And when our sliders come out of the oven, you want the cheese to be nicely melted on top. I like to garnish with some fresh chives. And then put the second half on top. And this is optional, but for serving, I love to have some of this broth on the side for dipping the sandwiches. And it's almost like a French dip. This broth is so incredibly hearty and delicious. Just pour it into a small ramekin. And when you're ready to enjoy, just dip the sandwiches into the broth. Take a nice big bite. And that's it for my roasted beef sliders. These turned out incredible. That melty cheese, the horseradish spread, and of course the dip. These sandwiches are the best. I actually make them quite often for my husband, who absolutely loves roast beef. Anything, especially like a French dip type of sandwich, this is one of his favorite dishes. Let's dig in to enjoy. Don't forget to head on down into the video description box. I'm going to have all the details for this recipe, including metric measurements, up on my website. Just head down into that video description box. I'll have a direct link down there. Okay, let's dip into the sauce, which is important because I feel like it just adds even more of that roast beef flavor. That was one incredible bite right there. That beef is so incredibly flavorful and tender. I love all the spices that we used for cooking the beef. And then you combine that with that incredible horseradish spread, which is so good. You have the cheese, this toasted bread, everything is just incredible. And then the dip just adds even more flavor. You are going to love these sandwiches. They're just so fantastic, especially as a game day appetizer, or you can enjoy them for lunch or dinner. Just a hit of a recipe. Let's grab another bite. I can't wait for you to try these incredible beef sliders. Thank you so much for watching my latest episode, and I'll see you next time with a new recipe.